Have you ever wondered why two people can take the exact same magnesium supplement, yet one says it completely changed how they feel, while the other notices almost nothing at all? Or why so many people buy magnesium glycinate hoping for better sleep, only to discover that sleep may not even be its most fascinating role? Before you spend another dollar on this supplement, or decide it's simply not working, there's one idea that could completely change how you understand magnesium. And surprisingly, it has very little to do with the reason most people start taking it. Millions of people have added magnesium glycinate to their daily routine because they've heard it may support better sleep, help with muscle cramps, or promote relaxation. If that's why you started taking it, don't worry, we're definitely going to talk about sleep. But if sleep is the only benefit you know about, you're only seeing a small part of the picture. The real story is much bigger, and once you understand it, many of magnesium's other benefits suddenly begin to make sense in a completely different way. Here's what most people misunderstand. They think magnesium works like a pain reliever. You take it for one specific problem and expect one specific result. But your body doesn't use magnesium that way. Every second of every day, your body relies on magnesium to support hundreds of normal biochemical processes. That means it isn't quietly working in just one organ or one system. It's involved in helping many different parts of your body function as they should. When people only think of magnesium as a sleep supplement, they're missing the much bigger picture. Think about your own daily life for a moment. Have you ever noticed that your muscles don't recover the way they used to? Or that your body sometimes feels more tense than it did years ago? Maybe you found yourself wondering why maintaining the same energy or sense of well-being seems more challenging than it once was. It's easy to blame each of these changes on aging alone. But what if some of them are connected by something much simpler, something your body has depended on every single day of your life without you ever thinking about it? That's the discovery we're going to make together. By the end of this video, I don't just want you to know more about magnesium glycinate, I want you to see it differently. Because the biggest benefit isn't simply that it may help you sleep. The biggest benefit is understanding why one mineral can influence so many different functions throughout the body. And once that idea clicks, many of the claims you've heard about magnesium suddenly become much easier to understand and much easier to separate from the myths. In the next section, we'll uncover the one hidden role magnesium plays that connects nearly everything people say this supplement can do. And it's probably not what you're expecting. Before we talk about sleep, muscle cramps, or any of the benefits you've probably heard before, there's one discovery that changes how all of them make sense. Most people believe magnesium works on different parts of the body separately, as if it helps your muscles one moment, your heart the next, and your brain somewhere in between. But that's not how your body sees magnesium at all. Think of it this way. Imagine your body is a city filled with billions of tiny messages traveling every second. Those messages tell your heart when to beat, your muscles when to contract and relax, and your brain how to communicate with the rest of your body. Magnesium plays an important supporting role in many of the processes that allow those messages to work normally. Once you understand that, you'll never look at this supplement the same way again. Here's something that genuinely surprises many people. Every time you pick up a cup of coffee, stand up from a chair, smile at someone you love, or take a deep breath, an incredibly complex network of nerves and muscles is working together behind the scenes. You never notice it because it's happening automatically. Magnesium isn't doing all of that work by itself, of course, but it helps support the normal function of many of the enzymes, muscles, and nerves involved. That's why scientists often describe magnesium as an essential mineral rather than simply another supplement. It's involved in hundreds of normal biochemical reactions that keep your body functioning every single day. Now, think about your own experience. Have you ever had an eyelid twitch for days? A muscle cramp that appeared out of nowhere during the night? Or moments when your body simply felt more tense than usual? Those experiences can happen for many different reasons, and magnesium isn't a cure for them. But they remind us of something important. When the body isn't functioning at its best, we often notice the symptoms without thinking about the systems working quietly behind them. That's why understanding magnesium's broader role is far more valuable than memorizing a list of benefits. It gives you a new way to think about what's happening inside your body. This also explains why people often become confused when they read about magnesium online. One article says it's for sleep. Another talks about muscles. Someone else swears it helped them feel calmer. Another person mentions heart health. It sounds like everyone is talking about a different supplement. In reality, many of these conversations are pointing back to the same central idea. Magnesium supports many normal processes throughout the body, especially those involving the nervous system and muscle function. The effects any one person notices can vary depending on their overall health, diet, medications, and whether they were actually low in magnesium to begin with. And here's where things become even more interesting. If magnesium's biggest role is helping the body's communication systems function normally, what does that mean for the organ that never gets a day off? Your heart, every minute of every day. Your heart depends on carefully coordinated electrical signals to keep beating in a steady rhythm. In the next part, you'll discover why that connection makes magnesium far more fascinating than most people ever realize, and why this benefit has nothing to do with chasing a better night's sleep. Now that you understand the hero idea that magnesium's real importance lies in how it supports your body's communication systems, let's look at the organ that depends on that communication every second of your life: your heart. Most people think of the heart as a powerful pump, and that's true. But before it can pump blood, something remarkable has to happen. Tiny electrical signals travel through the heart in a carefully coordinated pattern, telling each section exactly when to contract and when to relax. If that timing weren't so precise, your heart couldn't do its job effectively. Magnesium isn't the only nutrient involved in this process, but it plays an important role in supporting the normal function of muscles and nerves, including the heart muscle itself. That's one reason healthcare professionals pay close attention to magnesium levels in certain medical situations. Here's the part that many people find fascinating. Your heart beats around 100,000 times a day, and you probably don't think about a single one of those beats. It works quietly in the background while you're sleeping, walking, reading, or spending time with your family. It's easy to take that reliability for granted until something reminds you just how incredible it really is. When you understand that magnesium helps support the normal electrical and muscular processes involved in each heartbeat, you stop thinking of it as merely a sleep supplement. You begin to see why your body needs this mineral long before bedtime ever arrives. Now, let's connect this to something you may have noticed. Have you ever stood up quickly and wondered why you suddenly felt lightheaded? Or perhaps you've become more aware of your heart beating after climbing a flight of stairs. Experiences like these can happen for many different reasons, and they don't automatically mean you have a magnesium problem. But they remind us that heart health is influenced by a combination of factors: your overall diet, physical activity, medications, underlying health conditions, and essential nutrients working together. Magnesium is one piece of that much larger picture, not a magic solution on its own. This is also where another common misunderstanding begins. Some people hear that magnesium supports heart health and immediately assume, the more I take, the better my heart will be. But that's not how the body works. Nutrients are most helpful when they're present in the right balance. Taking extra magnesium without a clear reason doesn't necessarily provide extra benefits. And in some situations, especially for people with significantly reduced kidney function, it may not be appropriate at all. That's why understanding how magnesium works is far more valuable than believing bigger doses automatically lead to better results. The goal isn't to flood your body with more magnesium. It's to ensure your body has what it needs to function normally. By now, you might be starting to see the bigger picture. Sleep wasn't the secret. Heart health wasn't the secret either. They're both connected by the same underlying idea. Magnesium helps support many of the body's normal communication and muscle functions. But here's where most people have their biggest aha moment. If magnesium plays such an important role throughout the day, why do millions of people swear by taking it at night? Is it really helping them sleep? Or is something else happening behind the scenes? The answer is more interesting than most people expect. And once you understand it, you'll never think about your bedtime routine the same way again. Now we've arrived at the benefit most people expected from the very beginning. Sleep. If you've been wondering, when are we finally going to talk about it? This is it. But now that you understand magnesium's bigger role in supporting your nervous system, sleep starts to make much more sense. It isn't that magnesium is a sleeping pill. In fact, magnesium glycinate doesn't make most people pass out the way a sedative might. Instead, for some people, it may support the normal processes that help the body relax and prepare for restful sleep. Think about what happens when you're trying to fall asleep. Your body doesn't simply flip an off switch. Your breathing gradually slows. Your muscles begin to relax, and your nervous system shifts into a calmer state. Magnesium is one of many nutrients involved in supporting those normal physiological processes. That's why some people feel more relaxed after taking magnesium glycinate, while others notice very little difference. The supplement isn't forcing your body to sleep, it's supporting systems that are already designed to do that naturally. This is where one of the biggest misconceptions begins. Someone starts taking magnesium and sleeps better for a few nights. Naturally, they think, "I've found the secret." Then they tell everyone they know that magnesium is the best sleep supplement ever made. But another person tries the same product, takes the same dose, and notices almost no change at all. So who's right? Surprisingly, they both could be. Sleep is influenced by dozens of factors, including stress levels, daily activity, exposure to light, medications, caffeine, existing medical conditions, and overall nutrition. Magnesium may be one helpful piece of that puzzle for some individuals, but it isn't the entire puzzle itself. Here's something else that's worth thinking about. Many people spend years searching for the perfect supplement, while overlooking the habits that have a much greater influence on sleep. If you're drinking coffee late in the afternoon, spending hours looking at bright screens before bed, or keeping an inconsistent sleep schedule, no supplement is likely to completely overcome those habits. That's not a reason to dismiss magnesium, it simply reminds us that supplements work best when they're supporting a healthy lifestyle rather than trying to replace one. And here's a small mistake that many people make without even realizing it. They assume that if one capsule helped them relax, taking 2 or 3 must work even better. But more doesn't automatically mean better. Once your body has what it needs, taking extra isn't guaranteed to produce extra benefits. In some people, it may simply increase the chance of unwanted digestive side effects without improving sleep at all. That's why using magnesium thoughtfully is always a better strategy than assuming that bigger doses create bigger results. By now, you've probably noticed something interesting. Every benefit we've discussed, whether it's muscles, the heart, or sleep, keeps leading back to the same hero idea. Magnesium helps support the normal communication systems your body relies on every second of every day. But there's one area where that connection becomes even more fascinating, because it influences something many people worry about as they get older: staying mentally sharp, handling everyday stress, and supporting normal brain function. And once you understand that connection, you'll realize why magnesium is about much more than getting a good night's sleep. So far, we've connected magnesium to your nervous system, your muscles, your heart, and even your sleep. But there's one discovery that often surprises people the most, because it changes how they think about everyday brain health. When most people hear the word brain, they immediately think about memory. But your brain is doing far more than storing memories. Every thought you have, every conversation you follow, every decision you make, and every movement you control depends on billions of nerve cells communicating with one another every second. And just like the rest of your nervous system, those cells rely on a complex balance of nutrients, including magnesium, to function normally. Here's a question to think about. Have you ever walked into a room and forgotten why you were there? Or searched for your glasses only to realize they were already on your head? Moments like these happen to almost everyone, especially as life gets busier or stress levels rise. They don't automatically mean something is wrong. And they certainly don't mean magnesium is the answer, but they remind us how much we rely on healthy brain function every single day without giving it much thought. The goal isn't to promise sharper memory from a supplement. The goal is to understand that your brain, like every other organ, depends on the right environment to do its job well. This is one reason researchers have been interested in magnesium for years. Magnesium plays a role in normal nerve signaling and helps support many of the biochemical reactions that occur inside brain cells. That's very different from saying it can prevent or treat memory disorders, and it's important to understand that distinction. Healthy brain function depends on many factors working together, including physical activity, quality sleep, social interaction, managing conditions like high blood pressure or diabetes, and eating a balanced diet. Magnesium is one piece of that much larger picture, not the entire picture itself. Now here's the discovery that ties everything together. Think back to what we've covered so far. We talked about muscles. We talked about your heart. We talked about sleep. And now we're talking about the brain. At first, those sound like completely different topics. But they're all connected by the same hero idea. Your nervous system is constantly sending and receiving messages throughout your body. And magnesium helps support many of the normal processes that make those messages possible. Once you see that connection, magnesium no longer feels like a supplement with a dozen unrelated benefits. It becomes one essential mineral supporting one beautifully connected system. But if magnesium is involved in so many important functions, here's a question almost nobody asks. How do you know whether you're actually getting enough? Many people immediately assume the answer is another supplement. Surprisingly, that isn't always the first place to look. In the final part of this video, we'll uncover why your everyday diet may matter more than you realize. The simple mistakes that prevent many people from using magnesium wisely. And the one lesson I hope you'll remember long after this video is over. We've reached the final discovery. And if you've stayed with me this far, you've probably noticed that this video wasn't really about finding another supplement to add to your medicine cabinet. It was about changing the way you think about one mineral that's been quietly supporting your body your entire life. And that brings us to a question that's much more important than, should I take magnesium glycinate? The better question is, am I giving my body what it actually needs? Here's something that often gets overlooked. Many people assume that the only way to get enough magnesium is through a supplement. But magnesium has always been a natural part of a healthy diet. Foods like leafy green vegetables, nuts, seeds, beans, and whole grains all contribute to your daily magnesium intake. In fact, for some people, improving their eating habits may be just as important as choosing the right supplement. That doesn't mean supplements aren't useful. They certainly can be in the right situation. But they work best when they complement a healthy lifestyle instead of trying to replace one. This also helps explain why two people can have completely different experiences with magnesium glycinate. One person may have been consuming very little magnesium through their diet, while another has been meeting most of their needs all along. One person may be taking medications that affect nutrient balance. Another may have health conditions that change how their body handles minerals. That's why supplements are never one size fits all. The goal isn't to copy what worked for someone else. It's to understand what makes sense for your own body and circumstances. And here's one final misconception that's worth clearing up. Some people believe that because magnesium is an essential mineral, taking more can only be better. But your body doesn't reward excess, it rewards balance. Whether it's magnesium, vitamins, or even water. More isn't automatically healthier. Using the appropriate amount, choosing a reputable product, paying attention to medication timing when necessary, and discussing supplements with your healthcare provider if you have kidney disease, take prescription medications, or have ongoing health concerns are all far more important than chasing the highest dose on the label. So let's go back to the question we started with. What is the biggest benefit of magnesium glycinate? Surprisingly, it isn't better sleep. It isn't muscle comfort. It isn't heart support. Those are all parts of the story, but they aren't the story itself. The biggest benefit is understanding why one essential mineral can influence so many different parts of your body. Once you realize that magnesium helps support the normal function of your nervous system, and through it, your muscles, your heart, your brain, and many other everyday processes, you stop thinking of it as a sleep supplement. You begin to see it as one small but important piece of your overall health. And if there's one idea I hope stays with you long after this video ends, it's this: the most valuable supplement isn't the one that makes the biggest promises. It's the one you understand well enough to use wisely. If you found this video helpful, share it with someone who takes magnesium glycinate or has been thinking about trying it. They may discover something today that changes the way they think about it too. And if you enjoy practical, evidence-based health information designed to help you make informed decisions, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next video. Thank you for watching. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next one.